Michael dropped his keys on the side table and kicked off his shoes, the usual Friday exhaustion sitting heavy in his bones. He'd been counting the minutes to get home all week. Not for anything special, just the kind of normal evening he found comfort in. Takeout, couch, and a dumb movie with Allison curled up beside him. Instead, she was in the kitchen, back to him, blending something in her smoothie maker. Dressed in a silky black top and jeans he didn't recognize, she looked like she was going out, not like someone who was planning on staying in for the night. He leaned against the doorway, frowning. "Since when do you wear that perfume?" She didn't answer, just turned off the blender and poured her drink with almost choreographed grace. "Who's Jay?" he asked flatly. The glass paused midway to her lips. Slowly, Allison turned, and that's when Michael saw it. Not surprise. Not guilt. She was smiling. Cold. Confident. Cruel. "I was wondering when you'd finally catch on," she said. Michael blinked. The room spun a little. "So? Jay's my boss. And yes, I've been sleeping with him for 2 months," she said with the nonchalance of someone reporting the weather. "I needed a real man, Michael, someone ambitious. Someone who's not wasting his weekends playing Call of Duty with Jacob and watching cartoons." He felt like he'd been sucker punched. 3 years, Allison. 3 years. "That's what I meant to you? You meant comfort, that's all. But I'm done settling. Jay, he's going places. And he wants me beside him." His mouth opened but no words came out. Then, almost involuntarily, he asked, "Does Chloe?" "No, she introduced us, remember?" "Oh, she knows," Allison said. "Most of them do. Jacob too." The betrayal hit harder than the cheating. Their whole friend group had seen this coming and decided not to say a word. Michael stared at her, silent, while she took another sip of her drink. It was like standing in the middle of a wildfire. Everything he'd known, trusted, leaned on, was being consumed right in front of him. Still gripping his phone, he opened the group chat with Jacob and Chloe. His fingers hovered above the keys. Before he typed, "Greater than did you all know about this?" Almost instantly, Jacob replied, "Greater than bro. You're a good guy, but maybe not what Allison needs. Don't take it personal." Then Chloe, "We didn't want to hurt you, Mike, but yeah, she deserves someone who's more stable." Michael's heart thudded in his chest like a war drum. These were people he had spent birthdays with, people who helped him move, who cried with him when his dog died. And now they were rationalizing betrayal. He looked up. Allison was watching him, waiting, probably expecting the explosion, the tears, the begging. Instead, he smiled, not the kind of smile that masks pain, a genuine one. The kind born from clarity, from suddenly seeing things exactly as they are. He walked past her into the bedroom. She didn't follow, maybe too stunned by his reaction. There was a bag in the closet, a weekend go bag. Something he'd kept packed ever since his college hiking days. Inside, clothes, a charger, basic toiletries, and his passport. He slung it over his shoulder, grabbed his laptop from the desk, and stepped back out. Allison was leaning against the counter now, eyes narrowing. "Where are you going?" "Out," he said. "You can keep the apartment. I'm sure Jay can help with rent." Her mouth opened, but he was already out the door. The hallway smelled like bleach and the cheap detergent used by the building's cleaners. But tonight, it smelled like freedom. Michael didn't pause until he reached his car. No yelling. No confrontation. No last-ditch effort to win her back. The pain was real, yes. But it wasn't the kind that lingered. It was a clean break, because the deeper betrayal had been slow, methodical, and it had already run its course. She'd left him emotionally long ago. Tonight was just confirmation. As he drove, the weight in his chest started to lift. He passed familiar roads, but nothing felt the same. He turned off his phone. Let the silence engulf him. An hour outside the city, he checked into a roadside motel. A neon sign flickered over the door as the manager, Pete, a heavy-set man with kind eyes, handed him a key. "You okay, son?" Pete asked. Michael gave him a tight smile. "Getting there." 2 days passed before Michael turned his phone back on. It was immediately overwhelmed. 32 missed calls. 47 texts. Not just from Allison. From Jacob. From Chloe. From unknown numbers. Then came the real kicker. Social media notifications blowing up. Allison had turned the narrative into a weapon. Her Instagram feed was full of crying selfies and vague captions about emotional trauma and surviving gaslighting. One video had her looking tearful in their old apartment, saying, "Greater than, for years I was made to feel small, controlled, emotionally manipulated. I finally found the strength to leave, and now I'm being punished for it." There were hundreds of comments, likes, shares, sympathy. People he knew, even coworkers, were chiming in with supportive messages. The digital crowd had picked its villain, him. Michael laughed, but it was bitter. She wasn't just rewriting history. She was publishing it. Then came a message from Gemma, a work friend. "Hey, you should check your email. Something's going." Around the office, he did. And there it was, a company-wide HR email titled, "Promoting a Safe Workplace Environment." Thinly veiled, no names. But the timing wasn't a coincidence. Michael didn't sleep much that night. Every minute, the reality of what was happening pressed heavier on his chest. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a character assassination, one being played out in the public and professional sphere. So when he went to the storage unit the next day to grab some clothes, he didn't expect anything but a quiet errand. What he got instead was Juliana, Allison's best friend, waiting by her car. She looked nervous, scanning the parking lot like she was being followed. "I shouldn't be talking to you," she whispered. Michael raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you?" "Because," she looked down. "You don't know the half of it, Jay. He's not just her boss. His wife? She's connected. And Allison's been telling people you're unstable. That you threatened her." His breath caught. Juliana stepped closer, voice shaking. "You're not the first, Michael. Before you, there was another guy at work. Same thing. Allison and Jay, they ruined him. He moved states. No one's heard from him since." Michael felt his stomach churn. This wasn't a one-time betrayal. This was a pattern. "Why tell me now?" he asked. "Because I helped her last time," Juliana whispered. "And I'm not doing it again." Michael stood frozen as she walked away, disappearing behind the row of cars. Suddenly, everything felt bigger, dangerous. This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about destruction, something planned and repeated. And if Juliana was right, Michael had just become their next victim. Michael sat in his car, still parked outside the storage unit. Juliana's warning echoed in his ears like a gunshot in a tunnel. Her words weren't dramatic. They were calculated, quiet, terrified. She knew what Allison and Jay were capable of. He opened his email again and noticed something new. A forwarded HR complaint. Subject: formal concern regarding Michael Reyes from anonymous date yesterday, 3:22 p.m. Greater than Michael has demonstrated alarming behavior toward a former partner. I've witnessed verbal aggression and borderline stalking tendencies. I fear for our safety. He may need professional help. Anonymous. But Michael knew exactly where it came from. The wording? Too polished. Too careful. Allison had help. Maybe Jay's legal team or someone higher up in his company. Michael clenched his jaw. This wasn't paranoia. It was systematic isolation. First his girlfriend, then his friends, now his job. Everything that tethered him to his life was being cut away. He knew what came next: the police. Back at the motel, Michael opened a fresh notebook. No more emotional spiraling. No more panicking. It was time to document everything. He listed dates and times of every text, call, and public smear. Screenshots of messages from Jacob, Chloe, Juliana.hr emails, anonymous complaints, social media. POSTS, a timeline of Allison and Jay's relationship. Then he made a second list: people to contact. A lawyer. An HR advocate, one he trusted. A private investigator. If this was war, he needed armor. At 11:32 p.m., he got a text from an unknown number. Greater than: you should stop digging, Michael. You'll only hurt yourself. No name, no ID, just a threat. He stared at the screen, jaw tightening. Then, calmly, he took a photo of the message and added it to the evidence folder. They wanted him scared. Instead, he was becoming strategic. 3 days later, it happened. 2 uniformed officers knocked at the motel door just before noon. Michael had been expecting them, though not so soon. "Mr. Reyes?" the older officer asked. "We're following up on a concern about potential harassment." Michael stepped aside, letting them in. The younger cop looked around, noting the evidence board on the wall. Printed emails, connected dots, photos of social media posts. The kind of thing you'd expect from a detective, not a man accused of mental instability. "I've documented everything," Michael said. "You're welcome to review it. I haven't contacted Allison in any form since the night I left. I also haven't been anywhere near her or her office." The older cop thumbed through the folder. He whistled low. "This is thorough." Michael handed him a USB. "There's more here, including voice memos and statements. I've been targeted. This isn't just a relationship gone wrong. It's a coordinated smear campaign." The younger officer looked uncomfortable. "You're saying your ex and her boyfriend, boss, are setting you up?" "I'm saying," Michael replied, "that I was chosen, and now I'm being erased." They left with the folder and USB, no arrest made, but Michael knew better. This was just the opening salvo. Now they knew he wouldn't go down quietly. That night, Michael received a message from an unlisted number. "Greater than: I heard you're the new Michael. I was the last one." Attached, a voice recording. Michael put in his earbuds and hit play. A man's voice. Scratchy, tired. "Greater than: she did the same thing to me. Moved in fast. Took over my friend group. Then made me out to be the abusive one. I lost my job. My apartment. I slept in my car for 2 months. Jay had connections I didn't even know about. They didn't just want me gone. They wanted me erased." Michael's throat went dry. "Greater than: you need to be careful. You're not crazy, but that's what they want people to think. Keep everything. Trust no one. If you need a safe place, reply with Gray Crow. I'll find you." Michael stared at the message. Gray Crow? Some kind of code name? He typed one word, Gray CROW, no response, but he suddenly didn't feel as alone. Michael wasn't just surviving anymore. He was fighting back. He filed a counter-complaint with HR, accompanied by timestamps, screen captures, and Juliana's anonymous affidavit. A day later, he retained a lawyer, Tristan Myers, a reputation management and workplace harassment specialist. Tristan reviewed the documents, nodding grimly. "You're not the first case I've seen like this. You're being gaslit on a public and professional level. But you've done the smart thing. You documented everything." "What happens next?" Michael asked. "We flip the narrative," Tristan said. "We go public, carefully, with controlled leaks. You want the truth out there? We make it undeniable. By the end of the week, An anonymous blog post appeared on Medium. The Smiling Abuser: How Narcissists Weaponize Empathy to Destroy You, by a survivor. It didn't name names yet, but the story was unmistakable. Cold, measured, backed by evidence. Allison. Read it. So did Chloe. So did J. And the next day, Michael got a call from an unknown number again. He answered. A woman's voice this time, greater than "You just made a very big mistake." Michael smiled. So did you. The article had done its job. Michael didn't need to name Allison, not yet. The story went viral in certain circles. Reddit threads, abuse survivor forums, even professional circles where people whispered about weaponized HR policies and corporate predators. But the real payoff came on the third day after it went live. Michael's lawyer, Tristan, called. You won't believe this. 2 other people reached out through the blog. Same story. Different cities. Different years. But the same woman, the same man, the same pattern. Michael felt his stomach twist. It wasn't validation. It was horror. How long had this been going on? One of the victims, a software engineer named Ethan Doyle, agreed to meet Michael in a secured workspace Tristan arranged. Ethan looked like a ghost of Michael, unshaved, underslept, overcautious. She drained. Me? Ethan said, voice shaking. She wanted everything. My passwords, my social logins, my access to company portals. And then she flipped the switch. Suddenly, I was the predator. He handed Michael a small hard drive. Everything I collected before they forced me out. Emails, manipulated texts, even recordings. Michael accepted the drive like it was made of gold. He had just acquired proof of a pattern, and with multiple victims, Allison wasn't just a toxic ex. She was a predator with a system. Juliana, Michael's ex-roommate and one of the last friends he trusted, messaged him out of the blue. Can we talk? Not here, not text. Somewhere safe. They met at a laundromat across town at midnight. No cameras. No foot traffic. She looked older, eyes bloodshot, like she hadn't slept in a week. You were right, she said without preamble. All of it. I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe you were just bitter. But after the article, I started asking questions. Michael listened, heart thudding. I talked to Chloe. She admitted Allison told her you threatened her. Said you had anger problems. But I remember. You never even raised your voice. Juliana's hands trembled. She's manipulating everyone, Michael. I think she even tried to get to my boss. I got written up for something I didn't do. And Jay, he's pulling the strings. Michael leaned forward. Why are you telling me this? Because I think I'm next. He handed her a burner phone. Then we fight back. Together. The next move came fast, and ugly. Michael was ambushed at a coffee shop. Not physically, legally. He walked in for a meeting with Tristan and walked out with a restraining order filed against him. Filed by Allison. The grounds: harassment, threatening behavior, digital stalking, unlawful surveillance, all of it fabricated. This is a preemptive strike, Tristan explained. She's setting the stage to destroy your credibility before we go public. They counterfiled immediately with a full evidentiary brief. But then came the worst part. That night, someone broke into Michael's motel room. Nothing was stolen, but his laptop had been moved. The burner phone was gone. The walls were clean. No prints. Just slightly rearranged. Someone wanted him to know they'd been there. Michael sat on the bed, fists clenched. They're not trying to scare me anymore, he muttered. There. Sending a message. Tristan was blunt. This is psychological warfare. You're going to need protection. Michael looked him dead in the eye. No, I need leverage. Everything changed the day Ethan's hard drive was decrypted and reviewed. Inside were audio of Allison coaching another victim on how to look panicked for HR meetings, screenshots of text between Jay and Allison, laughing about erasing Ethan.metada proving forged screenshots sent to HR departments. One chilling quote from Jay: "If he fights, we'll bury him like the last one." Michael sat in stunned silence. This was bigger than revenge. This was criminal. Conspiracy, blackmail, defamation, retaliation, identity abuse. He met again with a detective who had reviewed his earlier police file, and this time they took him seriously. "Send me everything," the detective said. "But if what you're saying is true, this isn't just a harassment case. This is organized abuse of institutional systems." Michael's voice was calm, controlled. "It's what they do. She finds someone useful. He clears the path. They dismantle you and make sure you look like the problem." That night, he hit send on the final document drop to the police, to an investigative journalist, and to the legal office of a nonprofit that specialized in corporate abuse cover-ups. He had taken the shot. Now he waited for it to land. The fallout started as a whisper. An anonymous blog post dissected the smiling abuser. Medium article and suggested that it aligned too closely with a real couple in a well-known tech firm. Speculation began, and so did the digging. Reddit threads exploded with names, timelines, LinkedIn posts. Jay's firm issued a quiet internal inquiry. One of his subordinates leaked an internal email, greater than if any employees feel pressured into HR action without merit, please contact legal. All reports will be confidential. Then came the whistleblower. An intern at Jay's company had heard him laughing about HR weaponization in the lunchroom. She provided a recording. The audio quality wasn't perfect, but it was clear enough. Greater than you don't destroy someone by yelling. You get them banned from the building. Same result, less mess. The intern leaked it, anonymously, and it went viral. That night, Allison's social media vanished. Jay's LinkedIn went dark. Their polished online images cracked like shattered glass. And Michael? He sat quietly in the same motel room, still waiting, not for revenge,